Hi, in this video we will learn how to finalize our presentation. In previous videos we learned how to create slides in PowerPoint and insert objects in these slides. And so today we will learn how to finalize the presentation. For example, creating animations, transitions, creating things like master slides, logos, and things similar to that to basically finalize our presentation. So first, let's go ahead and insert an object. To insert an object like a text box, you can go to Insert here, and you can insert a text box. And then you click anywhere in this empty area and type something like maybe important. So you see how we added a text box called important. When you add a text box, of course, you can change the look and feel of that text box. You can add an outline to it. You can make the outline color different to match the picture. You can also add, for example, an arrow that will point to what you're referring to. So let's say I add a line arrow and I drag it from here to here, and so that brings people's attention to what I am referring to. So that's important. You can also add WordArt. So if I click WordArt here, and let's say I want to add this WordArt, you see how it adds the WordArt. You can make it smaller by dragging the sizing handles. And let's say, for example, I want to add something to do with goals. And let's say I want to put this here on this empty area of my slide. So you see how I added the text box and also WordArt to my slide. Now, if I want to create animations, so let's say I want to animate these objects here. So if you go to animations at the top, you click on what you want to animate, and so you have different animation options here. So let's say, for example, I want to do the bounce animation. So you see how it's bouncing here, and it will add number 1 saying that this is one animation you have here. And let me add another animation for time management, and for this one I will fly in that object. So click fly in. So we have 1, 2 animations, and let's animate this one as zoom, for example. Right? So we have 1, 2, 3 animations. Now to preview your animations, you can simply again go to Animations tab, click on Preview, and you see 1, 2, and 3 animations that you created. Now, things that we can also do is, if you select an animation, you can, for example, increase the time for the animation takes from start to finish. So let's say I want this to take 4 seconds. And now look, if I do preview, it takes 4 seconds from start to finish, while these will be quicker. You can also change the effects. So, for example, if you click all at once, and so this pertains to this particular animation, but if you select multiple, and then you go to Effect Options here, and let's say do all at once, look what's going to happen now. So this happens, then this, and then this, without me having to basically click, if you will. So things that we can also do is transitions. So if I want to transition each slide, which is basically the period from the start when it appears until it completely loads, that is what we call a transition. So if you go transitions here, let's say I want to add, actually let's look at a couple just to show you the difference. So let's say I go to wind, a transition. So it looks like a wind pushing a curtain away. And so you see how we added basically transition. And anytime you add a transition or animation to the slide, you will see like a little star beside that particular that particular slide. So let's say I want to see other transitions, and let's take a look at which one? Fracture. Let's see fracture. You see how it works. If I want to apply the same fracture transition to all slides, you click on Apply to All. And so now if I want to play this and see how it looks, you see how we have this transition from start to finish, 2 seconds, and then you go to the next slide, again transition, you click again, you see the animations, animating object 1, click again to animate object 2, click again to animate object 3, and then the fracture transition, and again transition at the end. But I have to click each time for this to happen, for the transition to happen. And so if I want the transition to happen automatically, you see it says on mouse click, it's checked. But if I say, you know what, instead of clicking my mouse, I want the transition, so for the next slide to transition, I want this to happen in like 5 seconds. So the transition will take 2 seconds, the fracture transition will take 2 seconds, the slide will remain in its place for 5 seconds, then the next slide will load for the next transition. And so let's say I want to apply the same thing to all slides, apply to all. You click on, for example, the reading view to see how it looks. So transition takes 2 seconds, then you wait 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the next slide appears. Okay, then you wait 5 seconds. And then the last slide appears. Now let's add other types of objects to our presentation. So I'm going to add a new slide. So go to Home, click on Slides, and let's say I click on New Slide button here. And you see the different types of layouts that you can have. So let's say I want to add the title and content. And so for this one, let's say I want to add a table. So you simply click on Table here, and then you specify how many columns and rows you want. So let's say I want 4 columns and 3 rows. Click OK, and now we have that particular table. When you add the table, you can change the design of the table. You can change the layout of the table, and I covered that in a previous recording while we discussed Microsoft Word. And so these options give you a chance to change the layout and the design of your table. And of course in here you can add your text so that you can customize your table. Let's say I want to add another slide. Another way to add a slide is you can hit enter from here. It adds a slide, and we can also insert a chart. So if I click chart, we insert a chart this way. You decide what type of chart you want. And so let's say I want to go with a column chart. You click OK. And so it adds a chart, and there's what looks like an Excel plugin into PowerPoint. And then you can customize your chart from here. So you see like category 1 is showing here, category 2, 3, and 4. You see them here. And then the legend is your series. So anything that you change here, so let's say I change this 2.5 to 6, and I hit enter, you see how that completely changed. So any changes you do to your Excel spreadsheet here, it will impact your chart. Now, finally, let's say I want to add a logo at the top right corner for every single slide. So we have in total 6 slides. If I were to add a logo at the top right corner for each one, it's going to be time consuming. And imagine if you have 60 slides where you want to add a logo at the top right corner. So that will be too much work. Instead, we can change the master slide, and any changes you do to the master slide will impact all of your slides. So anytime you want to make universal changes to your slides, it's a good idea to do it through the master slide. If you go to the View tab, you will see Master Views. And so let's say we go to the slide Master View. So click on that. You see it hides the details that we typed, and we are now looking at a backstage view of your slides where any changes I do here will impact my presentation. So if I hover over the first one, see it says Retrospect Slide Master used by slides 1 through 6. So if I want to make changes to all of my slides 1 through 6, then you want to change it on this particular one. If you hover over this one, Title Slide Layout, you see that it says that it's used by slide number 1. So I only have one title slide, and you see why it's showing 1. This one is used by 2, 4, 5, and 6. So 4 slides is using this particular one. No slide is using this layout, and you can see basically that this one, this particular layout, is used by slide number 3. And so if I want to make changes to my entire slide deck, then you will need to do it here. And so we said that I want to add like a logo for my company and put it here. And so if I go to Insert, let's say I want to search for pictures, and I want to search stock images, and let's see what we get from there. And let's say I want to search for the word key. Okay. And so we have different options here. Okay, let's say I want to go with this key as my icon. Again, this is just for practice. It doesn't look the best, but it's okay. You click on the image here, you see picture format. Of course, we need to shrink it, so we will shrink it. And you see how the ratio is locked between the width and the height. If you want to like crop certain parts of your image here, you can go to crop, and we can drag these handles. Let's say I don't want to show the house in here. I just want to show the keys. Okay. So let's say I want this to be my logo. When you hit Escape key on your keyboard, it crops that area that you don't want to show. If you click on the image here, you can change certain things. Like let's say I want to change the color. Let's say I want to go with this orange accent color just to match the theme of my presentation. And let me maybe make it a little bit smaller. And let's say I want to add it on this corner here. And so when I exit the master slide, or the slide master, this particular icon will show on all of my slides for the presentation. So again, anytime you want to make changes, including like font, let's say you want to make font changes and things like that, then you want to do it in the slide master because it impacts your entire presentation.